Hi, welcome everyone back to this series, the Women's Self-Care series. We are now in episode 6 and together with our special guest right now, we will be having a very nice conversation about the special thing. Okay, much of the stress of our adulthood come from one thing, money. Our finances has played a big role in our lives as we try to manage it, as we make sure our we get along with all our responsibilities. So we are so honored to have in our show today, our special guest all the way from Canada. She's a How Money Works Educator and an advocate in spreading awareness on how important financial literacy is in one's life. Her passion has helped people create wealth by educating them and teaching them how to invest the right way. Let us learn more about how finances is connected to self-care with the one and only Alison. Hi,
Oh,
good
hi,
morning from
Janine.
Singapore.
Good morning, good evening, good night. Whenever someone might be watching this, it's an honor to be here.
Okay, thank you so much for having the time for this interview.
My pleasure.
Okay, so let's dive in for our first question. Tell us more about yourself and how you've gotten into finance.
Oh, thank you. Well, I will first of all say I never imagined I would be working in the financial world. I think we all have kind of baggage around money. And I always kind of thought of, people who worked in finance as kind of being from a different planet. I was an environmental engineer. It seems totally unrelated, right? Does
Yes,
that
yes,
relate to that? Yeah. And I think as I got further in my career, whenever I would put forward a project for the environment, like a bike route or better energy systems, I always got the question, what is the business case? And I started thinking, I better learn to speak this language, the language of money. And I thought at the time, the way to do that would be to go back to school and get an MBA, because
Yes.
that's what everyone told me. So I did that. And I love to learn. So I never regret any schooling, but it certainly did not teach me about personal finance. The second time I had this interaction with money was when I had a family and I realized, hey, I want to have more freedom of time. And luckily, I had married an entrepreneur. My husband was in development and real estate his whole life. And for the first time in my life, I had this image of what it meant to go and make your own way in the world, to go and be a business owner. And that was a real eye opener for me. I grew up, with an engineer parent and a nurse. My mom was a nurse.
Oh.
And that second piece of the puzzle, as a woman having a family, I think we start to value our time in a different way.
Yes, yes.
And our priorities change, right?
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, self-care becomes really important. And I started to think, how could I make more money in less time? That's what it came down to, or at least everyone wants that, right? And at that moment, a friend of mine who was an accountant came and talked to me about a business she had started working to teach people about money. And I said, I need to learn about money. I've never been taught about money.
Yes.
Sure, I'll be a client, but I want to learn how to do what you do. And I just decided to dive in and become an entrepreneur in financial services. And that was about 10 years ago. So a long answer to your question. But that's how I got into the financial field and never imagined I would be here. But it is a fabulous career for women who are looking for more knowledge and freedom of time.
Yes, yes. Okay. Talking about that, how does self-care mean to you? Since you've mentioned self-care earlier, so as a mother, a woman, what does self-care mean to you?
To me, it means doing what I need to be better to those around me. So a better mother, a better partner, a better business owner, better able to serve my clients.
Mhm.
And I think, I don't know if that's the way you look at it or anyone else looks at it, but in order to be my best self, I have to look after myself.
Yes, it's something
Mm.
that most people don't realize all the time. I mean, we're
Mothers
used to
especially.
yes, we're always used to thinking we need to give, 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 and
Yes.
then forgetting about ourselves. But then we can drain up. We're also
Yeah.
human. And worst
Yeah.
case scenario, if that happens, then what?
Yeah.
Yes,
How many moms just keep going until they absolutely crash, right? And
yes,
that's
and that's
happened to me a couple times. And my husband's
yeah.
like, you gotta take some time off. Like you gotta slow down, right?
Speaking to yourself also, right? It's the one thing that's difficult to do because our mind is very, different.
Busy.
Yeah, difficult to manage.
Totally.
Mm,
Totally.
okay, so you're into finance. This one is some a question wherein is money really the root of evil, of all evil for you?
I love that question.
Yeah.
I can understand why people feel that way, but I'll tell you why I do not believe that it is.
Mhm.
Um, Money means many different things to different people. To
Mhm.
me, it means having choices. And I think depending on the kind of person you are, you may make value-based choices that others may see as good or bad, right? So for me, I love to live generously. I love to
Mm.
be able to give, to hire people or give them a job, to teach people. And in order to live generously, you have to make money. And I think I'd
Yes.
rather have the money in my hands or my control than
Mhm.
to someone who may not have the same values. Like maybe people want to give it to their government, maybe, or maybe they want to give it to corporations. I don't know. I prefer to make the choices myself with money. So I think it depends on whose hands it is in as to how it is used.
Mhm.
Um, that question can also point to, is money corrupting? And I don't believe so. I think people are guided by their values. If there is corruption there, then money
Mhm.
may lead them down, to pursue things that aren't, healthy.
Yes.
But I think if you have good values and you'll live those out regardless. That's my
Very nice.
thoughts.
Very, very inspiring. I mean, to see that there's still people who have money and have this mindset of, still living by their values and not going the wrong way, wrong path, and using
Yeah,
the money
yeah.
for the wrong one. So,
Yeah.
yeah,
And
yeah.
I really believe that you can do well by doing good. You
Mm-hmm.
don't have to tread on people or squash people or take advantage of people to make
Yeah.
money. And, I feel very hopeful. I think there's
Mm-hmm.
a change in, society that's saying
Mm-hmm.
that's not acceptable anymore.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel very hopeful about that.
Well, let's all hope for more people
Yes.
to be
Yes.
influenced by that. Okay, talking
Yes.
about that, how important is the relationship with money can affect one's life?
I think money is something that gives you choices in your life.
Mhm.
And while I don't think you need money to be happy, I don't
Mhm.
believe that. I think you're either happy, and I don't think if you're not happy, having more money is not going to make you happy, but
Yes.
it can solve your money problems.
That's a different situation, different thing. Yeah. There's
Yes.
very thin line,
Yeah,
but then it's very visual. Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I think it's important to have a healthy relationship with money, to
Mhm.
see it as a tool and an enabler, and not a, I don't know, a scorekeeper, because it's easy to get into the trap where you think, oh, once I have this amount of money, I'll be happy. But that's a moving goalpost, right? It always gets
Yes.
further and
Yes.
further out. And I think there are different relationships we have with money that we have to understand.
Mhm.
Otherwise, you will never feel fulfilled and you will
Yeah.
chase. And I think we all can stand to work on our psychology and our relationship with money, no matter what. But really understanding yourself is going to help you understand your relationship with money.
Very, very.
Yeah.
I'm so inspired right now to have money.
It's fun too. You can have a lot of fun with money.
Yeah. Okay, this one is something that most people have, but then is having debt really a bad
Mhm.
thing, or there's a good thing about it as well? Because
Yeah.
the thinking, I've been reading lots of, I mean, powerful people saying that
Mhm.
debt is good, but then
Mhm.
if you look at the middle class or lower class, it's like that is making them worse. So for you as an
Yeah.
educator, what is your view in this?
Yes. So on a very basic level, we talk about good and bad debt.
Mm-hmm.
And good debt is debt that is backed up by a more valuable asset.
Mm-hmm.
So a simple example would be, if you buy a house,
Mm-hmm.
you could have a mortgage on it, which is debt, but the house will be more valuable than the mortgage. So that could be seen as good debt.
Mm-hmm.
Versus if you have a lifestyle that is more expensive than the money you're bringing in to pay for it,
Mm-hmm.
you may accumulate credit card debt or even line of credit debt,
Yes.
which erodes your future benefit. It doesn't bring you a future benefit. It gives you a benefit today.
Mm-hmm.
And that's just costing you interest to fund your lifestyle. So
Yes.
I see bad debt as when it's not backed up by a more valuable asset. You can delve into that even with a house that is more valuable than the mortgage.
Mm-hmm.
We generally don't plan to sell the house we live in
Mm-hmm.
to fund our lifestyle. And
Yes.
so do you need a mansion or do you need a bungalow? Like,
Uh-huh.
I still believe it's good to live
Live within your
in terms
means.
of lifestyle, live leaner.
Yes.
Um, the final piece of good debt is if you are aware of the risks, of course, you can borrow to invest. So
Mm-hmm.
again, it's about sacrificing today for
Mm-hmm.
a future benefit. And so you just got to be careful. There is that future benefit, and that if you lost the money, that you would still be
Yes.
okay.
Yes. You mentioned about credit cards. So
Mhm.
this is also one thing that most people have nowadays. What are your thoughts about credit cards? Is it a good
Mhm.
thing or not?
Right. I think, like many powerful tools, it can be very good.
Mm-hmm.
So in today's day and age with online shopping, it's hard not to have a credit card. But I think what's missing is the education around how to use it responsibly.
Mm-hmm.
And unfortunately, they may give out credit cards to kids that are just in university that have no experience with borrowing,
Yeah.
and not understanding how the credit card interest rates and rule of 72 and compound interest. And so people can get into trouble,
Mm-hmm.
or if they're not disciplined, or maybe don't realize what life costs and
Mm-hmm.
buy things before they
Yes.
can afford them. So I think it's a really powerful tool. I put almost everything on my credit card, but I pay it
Me
off. I've
too.
never paid a dime in interest, except that one or two times I forgot to pay it off. And then I called the credit card company and said it was a mistake, and they let me off the hook.
Oh, maybe you might have a very good credit line.
I should have a good credit score. And
Yeah.
that's of course the other thing. A credit card's a very quick way to build up a credit score when used properly. Although not all countries craft a credit score based
Mm-hmm.
on debt, how you
Mm-hmm.
handle potential debt, or how you handle a credit card. But certainly in North America, that's how it's done.
Mm. Okay.
Mhm.
I as in my introduction to you, I've mentioned about investing. So for you, is there a right or wrong time to invest? Because I mean, I'm not sure if you've heard about the crypto, the squid one that suddenly crashed. I mean, not all people are knowledgeable about investing, but then the hype of it makes people, hey, this one is a good thing. And then you just put all your savings into it. So is it really worth, or there's this, I mean, you should know as a person where should you stand before you invest.
Yes, 100%. And I will preface this question by saying, we have what we call our 7 money milestones, and building wealth, investing is number 6. There's 5 other milestones that come ahead of that. And so there's context, but let's say you're ready to invest. The best time to invest is yesterday. The second best time is today. And that's because of the time value of money, which over the long run supersedes timing the market. So there's 2 different disciplines that you have brought up. One is trying to time the market. So if you are the one that's buying and selling your own stocks and bonds and assets, then it's your job to pick the right stocks for yourself, or ETFs or whatever, mutual funds, more stocks. If, like me, you are investing and just allowing time to work its magic, time and interest rates are the most powerful forces in investing. We can't control the rate of return on all of our investments, but we can control how long we leave it in there. And if you invest for the long run, then time in market always trumps whether you bought, at the bottom of the market or the top of the market. Because if we look at the US and Canadian markets, a rolling 10-year rate of return has always been positive. But the day to day, the month to month, the year to year, it will go up and down. So we have to look at investing for the long run. That's true investing. Timing the market, to me, is more like gambling, unless you have enough knowledge or you have access to knowledge, and you can buy the assets very, very quickly and dedicate yourself to buying and selling very quickly. So that's not my skill set. I'm not a stock picker, but so I like to invest and just use time and not worry about the day-to-day fluctuations, the month-to-month fluctuations in the market. And the assets I buy benefit by their productive assets. A productive asset, when you buy a stock, you're investing in a company that's creating jobs and paying taxes and contributing to the economy. When you buy a lump of gold or even a digital asset, it's a thing that's going up and down in value according to supply and demand. Simplifying things. And so that's a different kind of investment. And so it may reward a different skill set, like timing the market, but I focus on stocks.
So there you have it. If you have any vision of investing, so you've got good advice from Alison right there.
Look up Rule of 72. You can find it on my Instagram link in bio, a little short 4-minute video. I think it's the most powerful 4 minutes you'll ever spend learning about how money compounds and how you can use time to your advantage. Even if you're young and don't have a lot of money, you've got time on your side.
Yes, exactly. Okay. What's the best financial advice, financial self-care you can share with everyone?
Yeah, it may seem counterintuitive, but living within your means. And what I mean by that is, when we spend all of our money, it may feel good today, but we're robbing from our future self. And so this short-term, long-term, just like exercise, just like eating well, it's hard to do today, harder than just eating whatever we feel like, lazing around on the couch, right? But it pays off many, many, many times over in the future, right? So living within your means and giving to your future self by investing is probably number one top thing you can do to take care of yourself. And if you have any doubts, I always link health and wealth. The principles are very, very similar.
It sounds the same also, rhyming.
Yeah. Is that coincidence?
Okay, now we're down to our last question. How has being financially literate play a positive role as part of your self-care?
I am not exaggerating when I say that financial literacy has not only changed my life today, but through that, as a parent, it's changing future generations. And when we take care of ourselves and we lead by example, so we don't just learn, but we apply what we learn to our putting our financial house in order. Our children are watching what we do and learning from that, and we are programming their future, money thoughts. And so I can't think of a better reason or a better way to care for ourselves than to apply what we learn and have that go through to the next generation after generation through financial literacy. It all starts with literacy and mindset.
Yeah.
And to me, that's, I think, the biggest benefit of taking care of ourselves and being financially literate.
Thank you so much. I'm sure all our viewers have learned a lot from this short chat of ours. And I
you.
thank you for your time. I know you're a busy woman. And so,
I'm not that busy, honestly. I will I will add to that. I used to always say, I'm so busy.
yeah.
And here's a challenge to your listeners.
Okay.
If we prioritize properly and organize our life, we should be able to not be always busy every single moment. And my challenge is to, if you have the habit of saying I'm busy, to change your words. I'm choosing to do this right now. I'm choosing to run to the grocery store. I'm choosing to read to my child. I'm choosing to go to work. Once you start to use the language of choice, you will find yourself less busy and more in control of your time and potentially your money. They're linked. So I'm not that busy. Never too busy to talk to you.
So there you have it, our viewers. You even got a challenge from Alison here. So I hope you challenge yourself with it and make a better you.
Yeah, that's what we're all trying to do, right?
Yes, always. Okay, thank you so much,
Thank
Alison.
you.
So much.
Thank you for having me, Janine. It's been
Thank
a
you so
pleasure.
much.
Bye.
Bye.